Good. Well, it's morning, I guess. Still, I'm used to doing these at night. So, good morning, everyone that's jumping on with us and tuning in. We're coming at you this Saturday morning with our college football top 10 cornerback reveal. Something we voted on. We'll get into that here in a minute. But hope everybody out in the chat land is having a great morning, and I hope you can't have two better guys join you when you're doing one of these streams than the two gentlemen that are on the screen with us right now. We're going to start off with Rob, the CEO in my mind of us here at WTP Sports. Rob, how's it going today? You look like you're in a different location than normal.
Yeah, I'm in a different location. I had to come in and do some work. So I'm in a different location. I got to do this from my phone because the Wi-Fi connection is not as great. So here I am this morning, but I'm excited to be here, ready to talk about some top 10 cornerbacks in the no-fly zone.
Exactly. That's what it is. That's the no-fly zone, man. And when we get to the number one, that's definitely a no-fly zone. But also joining us is the man, the myth, and probably the legend, Mr. Post-Game, as I call the COO of the company of WTP Sports. What's going on in your world, Post?
Man, not too much, man. Just excited to get on here this Saturday morning and chop it up with y'all on some really freakish athletes at the cornerback position in college football.
100%. This is doing this year has just proved to me even more, no matter what position group we go to, there is depth everywhere. And I promise you, when we reveal this top 10 for y'all, you're going to be like, well, you forgot this guy. Well, you forgot this guy. Well, you forgot. I'm sorry, man. There's only 10 spots. I mean, we could have probably ranked 15 to 20 and been fine, but it's going to be a really exciting college football season. So we'll see where we go. Just a little bit of stuff there. So glad to see everybody in the chat. Got questions? Drop them, please. You see all the channels scrolling down at the bottom of us here. Go like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Join us. Give us your thoughts. Give us who we missed. Tell us who your cornerbacks do you think so. We're always here for the fans, of course. So without that, we'll go back to how we always start these shows with how we come with the rankings for any new members or viewers. We all submit a list, and then I take that list and I rank them from 10 to 1, points 10 being the highest for first place, 1 for 10th place. Go across the board, add them up. There's your rankings. That's how we come to our rankings. Excuse me. And I think we've been pretty good this year with what I've seen for how we've ranked them. So without further ado, let's jump into number 10. Then we're going to start with Rob on this one. Number 10 is Mr. DJ Pickett from LSU. And while you're talking, I'll bring up his stats and stuff for you.
Yeah, DJ Pickett, first-year starter at LSU, true freshman, came in this season as one of the real bright spots for LSU, and that defense that was not as good as we thought they would be, but we know LSU is one of those schools that's known as DU. The true freshman had 35 tackles, 28 solos, 3 passes defended, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions. Guy that's 6'4", 189. That's going to be one of the things we're going to talk about a lot when we talk about these guys and their freakish abilities. Is these guys are tall and rangy and lanky, and they can really cover some ground. You're talking about a 6'4" guy who's 189. He'll probably put on a little bit more weight this season. I really like this guy. I think he's going to be a solid player this year for LSU. One of the teams that we think will be a lot better in the SEC. Let's go, DJ Pickett.
And I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know real quick. You'll see the numbers to the side. That's the number he ranked. He was tied And so I put him at 10 here, but there was a tie for 10th. So 9 and 10 had the same exact votes. That's why you'll see 9, even though he's 10 on our list. What you got post game?
Yeah, DJ Pickett, man. I'm really excited to see this young man continue to blossom down at LSU. The thing that stands out for me, and Rob mentioned it, is his size, 6'4", 6'5", at the cornerback position. That's really freakish. And this guy, look at his stats. He's able to make tackles. He's able to get sacks. He's able to get interceptions. I expect those numbers to only increase this season with Lane Kiffin in town as the new head coach. Being that tall, though, he's a really long strider. So some of the more smaller, shiftier wide receivers he can have a problem with. But outside of that, this is definitely one of the more elite corners in college football. And I'm excited to see how he excels this year.
Y'all covered it both with this guy. Long, rangy, just a freshman All-American last year. I mean, and this guy's got all the makings of a future first-round NFL draft pick with the size and everything he's got. He does need to get a little better with the shiftier receivers. I think they give him problems. People like, I'll just throw them out, Casey Concepcion, shifty receivers that can cut and are real slippery, as we like to say. So, other than that, though, his size is good. I mean, that's a huge cornerback. And, you need that in today's football with these receivers getting bigger. So that's definitely our number 9/10. Moving on to the other tie for the 9th and 10th spot was Ellis Robinson III from Georgia. And again, we're going to let Rob go first here, and then post, you follow him right up with that. And I'll bring his info and stats up as y'all are doing that.
Yeah, Ellis Robinson, the fourth, 6', 180, 2 years at Georgia, 23 tackles, 14 solos, 4 interceptions. I expect a huge season from him this year, 7 passes defended. I really feel like this guy is going to have an opportunity to really solidify himself as one of the top 10 corners, probably to get drafted in next year's NFL draft if he decides to come out after year 3. I really like him. And at Georgia, they're always going to play some press coverage. They do a real good job with film study. And I expect this guy to take a major leap and have the kind of tackling stats that you want to see a corner have, especially when teams run the outside zone at him. I think this guy is going to be really, really nice. I would like to see him get up to maybe around 190. But 6', 180 is still a good size for a cornerback.
Yeah, I like Ellis Robinson. I think this kid has the goods. You see him take interceptions to the house and really shows his ball hawking ability. But one thing that stands out for the kid, man, he doesn't mind helping out in run support, and that's a really good trait for a corner. Despite his size or lack thereof, I'm with Rob. I think he needs to put on a little more weight to that frame. But outside of that, this guy is great at coverage. He's a ball hawker, and he does not mind helping out in run support. This is a guy who Georgia needs to take that next step if they're going to be able to compete for a national title this year. I love Ellis Robinson.
Yeah, Ellis Robinson is one of those. I don't want to say undersized because he's decent, but when he comes down into the run game, he has to get a little bit better at tackling. But again, that'll come with time. And, Kirby's smart in that defensive over there. They're going to get that under control. But the fact is he might be a little undersized, but that dude will stick his nose right there in the fire. And if you're a quarterback facing him, you better be spot on with your passing, because if you're off a little bit, it's his. This kid's got good hands back there. you mentioned it post game that if they want a chance at a national title, he's going to have to play. And I think we all kind of expect Georgia to have a really good defense, as they do pretty much every year under Kirby Smart. Really like Ellis Robinson. Next, we're going to move out a little bit west and go visit Brigham Young University, where Evan Johnson is. Came in with 7 total points. And we will go ahead and do our same rotation with Rob, then post game on Evan Johnson and what he brings to that BYU defense.
Yeah, Evan Johnson, BYU, 6 foot, 185-pound guy, 65 tackles in his career, 51 solos, 7 passes defended, 1 sack, 7 interceptions, 5 interceptions last year. That means that this guy was making plays for BYU. When you see a guy have as many interceptions as 4, 5, 6 interceptions in a season, you think that maybe teams are picking on him. Maybe this guy was just a ball hawk and knew how to get to that ball. He also had 1 TD. I really like him. I expect him to be a cornerstone piece for the BYU defense this year. I really want to see how he matches up with some of the better elite receivers that we're going to see in the Big 12 this year. Will he be a guy that can follow the number 1 receiver for those teams that they're going to face? So I'm going to be watching Evan Johnson closely this season to see what things he does better this season than he did the last previous seasons. But I really like Evan Johnson, and he's definitely a top 10 player, in my opinion, at the cornerback position in college football.
Yeah, definitely, Rob. He's definitely a cornerstone of that BYU defense. And if that BYU defense is going to dominate, Evan Johnson has to have a preseason All-American type of year where he's projected to be. I like this kid, man. He makes a lot of plays. He's another corner who isn't afraid to help out in run support. And him leading BYU in interceptions is huge. I think he's going to repeat that feat this year. And he actually tied for the lead in interceptions in the Big 12. So this is one of the better corners, not only in the Big 12, but in America. I think he's seasoned enough, and I think he's going to be one of the better players in college football. Evan Johnson has to have a big year and be relied upon to take out some of the better wide receivers in the Big 12 if BYU is finally going to get over the hump and win a Big 12 championship this year.
Yeah, agreed. Look at the stats alone. 47 tackles. It's 4 tackles per game. That's pretty good for a cornerback. You mentioned the interceptions tying for the lead with the Big 12 post game. It's the interceptions, but also look, 8 pass breakups. Well, if those are third downs, he just stopped 8 first downs throughout the season. So it's not just all the interceptions and stuff, but he has to continue that level of play, I think, for BYU to get where BYU wants to get, which is first off a Big 12 championship. He's going to have to be good. There's some good receivers in the Big 12, so he's probably going to have his hands full this year too. But he's probably going to be tasked with you're covering that guy. He's their best player. You shadow him. That's probably what they're going to have to do with Evan Johnson, which is what I would probably do with him. So we'll see how it plays out with him. Really, really solid player sitting at number 8 in our list. Probably could have been higher, but we'll leave him at 8 for now. Let's go to the probably most hated state from Ohio. Let's jump north to Jair Hill from Michigan and give our thoughts here. Came in number 7 on our list, got 12 total votes. Rob, floor is yours.
Yeah, Jair Hill, I'm expecting him to put up some major numbers for a really, really good Michigan defense. We talked about several players in our charts, in our top 10s, and a lot of guys have showed up from Michigan. I really think this guy has an opportunity to solidify himself as one of the best defensive backs in the Big Ten this year. I really like his upside. 6'2", 190, has 79 tackles in his career, 54 solos, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3-year player at Michigan. I expect this year to be a phenomenal year for him. Can he take that next step, though, and be one of those corners that can say, on this side of the field, you get nothing? So I'm expecting to see if he takes on that task this year with Kyle Whittingham being their new head coach. They're really going to be an ultra physical team, and I want to see how he pans out in this new system.
Yeah, this is a freakish athlete as well. I really like Jair Hill, what he projects to be, his length, his athleticism for the Michigan Wolverines. Very good speed. I believe he's projecting in the 4.3s when you talk about 40 times, and that's elite speed for a corner. Tends to miss tackles and run support. So I would like to see him clean up in that area. But if he doesn't, he's still an elite corner. He's still a guy, a lot of man, a lot of zone, whatever the case may be, who can give your elite receivers some trouble. Straight line speed is impeccable. That's one of the key traits he has. But like I said, needs to work on some tackling, tends to miss some. But outside of that, Jair Hill is a freakish athlete and a guy that I expect to take another step and really solidify his draft stock.
Yeah, Michigan's had some good DBs over the years, and I think he might be the next in line for that. He comes down. He doesn't mind getting down, but you're right. Post game, he has to improve the tackling. He has to make more sure tackles, or at least hold on to the player a little bit and let some of the cavalry come help him out. But this is one guy that if you get behind him, you better hope the ball's thrown right, because he's going to be catching you really fast with his speed, just tracking you down from behind. So, freakish athlete, you spot on with both of that. His length is 6'2", long, rangy. So we need him to increase. Instead of just being a strict cover corner, I would like to see him get a lot better in the run game, and the tackling ability would go a long way to help his, to be honest, draft stack. Yeah, he's going to be in the NFL. It's just a matter of how high can he get. Next, we'll go to the state right next to Ohio. A little bit to the west of it there. And we'll go with Jamari Sharp from Indiana. And we'll turn it with Rob again. Your thoughts on Jamari Sharp and what kind of piece he is with this whole Indiana defense.
Man, I say it all the time about these Indiana guys up under Kirk Cignati, that they're so disciplined, they're going to be where they're supposed to be. And I know the people out there in the chat probably get tired of hearing me say it, but man, that's the making of a really, really good football player, man. Jamari Sharp, Indiana, 6'1", 188 pounds, has 84 tackles in his career, 59 solos, 13 passes defended, a half a sack, 4 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, a guy that has played a freaking lot of football. So we expect him to really be one of those really good Indiana players that we've seen come out of Indiana the past few years under Kirk Cignati. We've seen what Pons did last year. I expect this guy to fill that role of D'Angelo Pons and be the guy that does it all for Indiana at that cornerback position. Really solid player. Excited to see what he does this year in the Big Ten, to see if they can get Indiana back to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, man, I'm really impressed with Jamari Sharp. This is a guy who sealed the deal in the national championship game, picks off Carson Beck and seals the deal for the national championship trophy for the Indiana Hoosiers. I never thought I would be saying that in my lifetime, but Jamari Sharp, unlike a few of the other guys we talked about, this is a guy who doesn't mind helping out, coming down, helping out in that run game and being a short tackler, he only missed four tackles the whole season last year. And that might even increase to a better number. This is a guy who likes to bait quarterbacks in the throws, really reads well, and then breaks on the pass with chances to either break up the ball or ultimately get the interception. We would like to see those interceptions go up, but Jamari Sharp, man, is a baller, and I'm excited to see his progress. And I think with Pons gone, he's really going to be leaned on to be that guy in the DB room. So I'm excited to see his progress, not only as a player, but as a leader. And we'll see where that takes his game next year.
Yeah, that's where my angle was the leadership. Your returning cornerback sealed the game. You're going to be the one that all these people that have either transferred in or were younger last year that may not have gotten this playing time, that you're the one that's going to have to put that arm around them and, hey, or if a bad play happens to one of them, go over there and pick them up. Hey, that's going to happen. Wipe it off, get rid of it. This guy is fast. And you look at some of the stats there. Yeah, he had one interception. Okay. 6 tackles for loss tells me that he's coming. He's blitzing. He's coming after people. He's hitting, he doesn't mind getting down and dirty with it. But if you look at the bottom stat, he knows how to get the ball away from the players. 4 forced fumbles from a cornerback position. You would see that a lot in maybe your linebackers from ripping in and stripping it out, or D linemen. But for a cornerback to know how to get the ball away from the receiver or running back to get it on the ground, that's a pretty good trait to have back there. I saw a stat on him that kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. He had more than 500 snaps of during coverage. Like there was 500 offensive snaps that we had him in coverage. He allowed 34 receptions. That's pretty impressive. So we'll see how it goes. I expect him to take the next step and be the leader of that defensive backfield at Indiana. And we're going to see how it goes. But I think having him back is huge for Cignetti, knowing that he's got somebody he can trust to anchor that room. Next, let's go way west. Let's go talk about Jontez Williams from USC. Floor is yours, Rob.
Yeah, Jontez Williams, USC, one of the smaller guys that we picked in our top 10, 3 years at Iowa State. The thing I like about him is he understands that he needed to go to a system that runs the same type of system that they run at Iowa State, that 3 high safety. And with the hire of Gary Patterson, who runs that same style of system, he's going to fit right in there at USC. I really like this guy. 5'10", 200 pounds, 3 years, like I said, at Iowa State, 67 total tackles over his career, 34 solos, 10 passes defended, 5 interceptions. I really expect this guy to really help the USC program to change their defensive woes around. That has been our biggest complaint about USC over the last several years, especially since they've had Lincoln Riley as their head coach, is they haven't played good defense. Now in steps Gary Patterson, who was a defensive back coach and also a defensive coordinator. I expect their defensive backfield to be much better. They got some really, really major games, some serious wide receivers they're going to face. I want to see how well this young man does. I really like Jontez. Hopefully, he can maybe lose a little bit of weight and get down to about maybe 195, maybe lugging around that 200 pounds as a corner on a 5'10" frame might hinder him a little bit, but I really like this guy in coverage and when it comes to tackling at the cornerback position. Really like this guy and his upside, and I think that Gary Patterson is going to help him turn the corner.
Yeah, one of the things to look out for when you talk about John Tez is maybe the uptick in competition at the wide receiver position, going from the Big 12 to the Big 10. We know the Big 10 got some really elite wide receivers. The Big 12 has some good wide receivers in their own right, but I think there's a slight level of competition increase. But another thing to look out for, he's coming off an ACL injury. So how does that affect his movement, his ability to switch those hips on twitchier, faster wide receivers? And outside of that, though, this is a playmaker. This is a guy who makes plays. He made a lot of plays at Iowa State, really good in coverage, really has a good coverage percentage, and I think he's a big get for USC this year. But again, that ACL injury, how healthy is he going to be coming into the year? Is that going to take away from some of his athleticism? When you talk about defending receivers, those big receivers, those small twitchy receivers, is we're going to learn a lot about John Tez Williams this year. But outside of that, man, this is a guy who was a playmaker for Iowa State. And I'm excited to see what Gary Patterson can do with him in this USC defense, because he definitely has the goods to be one of the more elite corners in college football.
Yeah, that's an ACL is always iffy coming back from. I lean on the cornerback. Their skill spots are a little bit different. I mean, granted, with the technology and the medical staffs we have nowadays, you can recover a lot faster and get back. But what's it do to his head? If he goes to is he going to be nervous making cuts at the beginning of the season? Is he going to be like, oh, if I plant wrong, I could be out again? This dude only played 5 games last year. So if he's healthy and his mind's right and he's good with it and everything's fine, I think he's going to fly up the cornerback rankings and be really, really high. Really sure, reliable tackler. It's that injury that has me concerned. And then some of the receivers, like you mentioned post game, that he's going to have to face are going to be a lot more, I guess, higher level. I hate to say that about, because the Big 12 does have some guys over there too, but I don't think there's anybody like a Jeremiah Smith or Evan Stewart or DeCorian Moore that in the Big 12. So the injury is kind of a concern, but he did have 4 interceptions in 2024 also at Iowa State. So I think you're right. I think he went to a system, Rob, that fits his style and his play. And I expect him to, if we re-rank this at the end of the year, I think he'd be higher than 5. Let's move on to a school that we haven't even talked about in any of these ranking shows. But this guy is going to be something. And that's Kelly Williams from Mississippi State. And for a team that's not projected to do much, I think their over-under win total was 4.5. This just shows, you can play ball anywhere, and this guy's going to be something special moving forward. So we'll turn it over to the great analysis from the gentleman.
Man, I really love Kelly Jones, 6'4", 195 pounds. I'm telling you right now, if you face Mississippi State and you think you're going to throw at this guy, you got another thing coming. You got to make sure your wide receivers got some serious steps on this dude, because his length can get to just about every ball that you put in the air. I watched him last year, but we had a wide receiver at Texas, had a step or 2 on him. His length swallowed that steps that player had up over him in an instant. I'm telling you right now, I love this guy. He is a player who I thought probably should have moved to linebacker or safety, but nope, I was dead wrong. He's one heck of a corner, 62 tackles over his career, 33 solos, 12 passes defended, 11 of those last year, 2 interceptions, super tall and rangy guy. I really love him, and I hope that he makes first team All SEC this season because he is really a dude.
Yeah, 100%, Rob. I couldn't agree more with you. This is definitely one of the better players in the SEC conference. And salute for him just for sticking around at Mississippi State. I'm pretty sure he could have went anywhere, hopped in the portal and went anywhere. But I mean, you said it, the 6'4" frame. He really excels in the man coverage area. Man to man, he's one of the elite corners in college football. And how does he do it? With his elite length. And not only is he good in pass coverage, but he's not afraid to come up and make tackles. He was only charged with 3 missed tackles the entire season. So this is a guy I would expect him at the end of the year to finish in the top 2 or 3 corners. If we re-ranked so at some point at the end of the college football season, I expect this guy to shoot up the board. He's already elite. I think he still has room to grow, and he's going to be all SEC first team and one of the bright spots for this Mississippi State team. I really like Kelly Jones a lot.
I love Kelly Jones. I also love to hate Kelly Jones. He has terrorized A&M's passing attack over the past 2 years. We got him. We've beaten him, but man, we had a guy, and this is just an example of his closing and coverage ability. He was beat, and he was beat bad on a corner route in the end zone against the back pylon. And the ball wasn't lobbed, it was thrown. And he closed in about 3 strides and knocked it away. Actually, I think he picked that one off. But his coverage skills, much like the other 6'4" receivers, he's big. Shifty receivers can give him a little bit of a problem, but you better shift and get away from him, because if he's close, his length is just going to swat it down. 28.9% completion percentage allowed against him. Against a team that Mississippi State that wasn't really good on defense last year. He was the bright spot. Man, I love that he wears maroon. I just wish it was in a different logo on the front. I can't lie about that. He is great. I honestly expect that he's probably going to be the best cornerback in the SEC. And I know we've got one coming up in the same conference, and we've mentioned a couple more from the conference. I would almost pick him over everybody. He is that good in my mind. Oh, here we go. Let's go back to the Big Ten and go out to Oregon, who we have spoken about. I think at every position from offense to defense, we've had somebody from Oregon on there, if not 2 or 3 of them. I've lost count. These Oregon guys are everywhere. So we're going to jump into Brandon Finney Jr. from Oregon, came in with 25 votes in our rankings.
Man, what we got to see Brandon Finney Jr. do last year as a true freshman, to 6'2", 203 pounds, 42 tackles, 29 solos, 7 passes defended, a sack, 3 interceptions, and a TD. Man, I really love this player right here. And I feel like he's one of the reasons why Oregon is probably going to be one of the best teams in the country. Probably will come out ranked number 1 once the AP and them come out with their rankings. I really love him, and his confidence is through the roof. He's a guy who understands that, listen, I don't care who it is lining up over there, I got a job to do. And he goes out there with ultra confidence to get that job done. I really like him. He got a nice frame at 6'2", 203 pounds, tackles pretty well, I think he's going to be one of those corners in the Big Ten this year who's going to make a lot of noise. And just think this guy gets to come back for another season after this one and get to do it all over again. I really like Brandon Finney Jr. I think he's one of the best corners on our list, and that's why he came in at number 3.
Yeah, for sure, Rob. I mean, it's almost unfair to have an elite corner like that with his size, his physicality, his ability to mirror wide receivers. It's unfair to have a defensive line like Oregon has and have a corner like this because they feed off of each other in run support and especially in pass or during the pass defending opposing teams passes. You got 4 guys on the defensive line who can get after the quarterback and cause havoc. And then you got a guy like Brandon Finney on the back end covering your best weapon on offense, giving him hell. So, I mean, this guy is still really young, but that doesn't mean a thing because he's a physical corner, has a high IQ. Like I said, mirrors receivers really well. 6'2", over 200 pounds. This guy is a freakazoid. And Brandon Finney is going to be a big part of Oregon's success this year.
Complimentary football, post-game complimentary football. If he's holding the receiver under control, that quarterback's trying to figure out what to do. Here comes that D-line. If that D-line puts a little pressure on him and the quarterback forces it up, it's his. It's just, defensive line, your front 7 on defense makes your cornerbacks look better, and your cornerbacks make your defensive line and linebackers look better by giving the quarterback nowhere to go with the ball. So he benefits definitely from that defensive line. But man, that even without that defensive line doing that and getting pressure, you've still got a shutdown corner sitting out there that's going to take away part of the field. So really like Brandon Finney Jr. You mentioned it, Rob. This dude's got another year. I mean, he was a freshman All-American, second team Big Ten. Excuse me. And he's got another year. That's just to work on that craft. So we'll see. I mean, I fully expect him. I'm sure we do this next year. He might be sitting in the number 1 spot next year based on what he's got going and how good he is. So we'll see how that plays out. Next, we seem to be jumping back and forth between the SEC and Big Ten here for a minute. Let's jump down to a team that everybody always thinks is, you always think they're going to be great, and has had a few down years here, but I'm going to tell you, Alabama, I think it's pronounced Dewan Lee, to be honest with you. I don't think it's Dijon Lee. I think it's Dewan from Alabama. And he's the leader of that Alabama secondary, which if you haven't paid attention, that secondary is going to be really good. That's the strength of their defense, which is not normal when you talk about Alabama. So, Rob, what do you got on Mr. Lee?
Well, Mr. Lee, I'm telling you right now, another one of those freaking true freshmen, 6'4", 204 pounds, 32 tackles last year, 21 solos, 5 passes defended, 2 interceptions. What can you say about this guy, man? Unbelievable talent. One of the real bright spots for Alabama last year in that secondary. I thought maybe, somebody would try to lure him out of Alabama to go to another school that might have a better chance of making it to the college football playoffs. Not that I don't think Alabama can. I just think they're going through some things right now. But this guy's a real bright spot, man. I really like him. I mean, 6'4", another 6'4" guy that we're talking about at the cornerback position and not playing freaking linebacker or safety. This is unbelievable, man. That we got 3 guys on our list that's 6'4" and can cover like a guy that's much smaller. I really like him. I think he's going to be a really, really strong position holder for Alabama this year and one of their real bright spots again. Hopefully, he has a fantastic sophomore season. And if he doesn't and Alabama doesn't do well, we might have a place for him at them Longhorns.
100%. I mean, Dejon Lee Jr. is a remarkable athlete. This is a track guy in high school. You mentioned his height, Rob, at 6'4". That destroys the 50-50 ball. There may be one or two wide receivers in the whole nation who you would consider a 50-50 ball play when going up against Dejon Lee. This guy, I mean, track guy in high school, unbelievable athleticism. And you mentioned corner or DB rooms. I think Notre Dame has the best DB room, but I think Alabama, Georgia, and Oregon are definitely on their heels. And I expect big things from those DB rooms. But Dejon Lee is going to be a monster, leader of that DB room down at Alabama. Well worth the number 2 ranking. I expect big things from this young man. And again, the size of these corners that we're talking about is unbelievable. 6'4" guys, 6'2" guys, over 200 pounds, but his arm length is unbelievable. Good luck trying to get a ball with Dejon Lee in coverage.
Yeah, you're taking your quarterback as a quarterback. You're taking your stats into your hands if you're throwing the ball towards him in tight coverage. It's probably going to be his. You hear about the receivers and how he's good at the 50-50 balls. Not against him, you're not. Not against him. Those are more like 25-75 for him. You mentioned that the Alabama defensive back room is going to be loaded. It is good. It is really good. There's another Alabama cornerback that could have made this list too, but he missed out. Which I'm good with that. I'm good with having one from different teams. I get more people involved, but I'm hoping. My hope is that he plays phenomenally and has an outstanding year to make our rankings look better. But I hope he gets beat like crazy in one game, and that's just my opinion. Somewhere when those A&M travels to Alabama, I'm hoping he has a down game that day. Don't expect it. Think he's probably going to try to match up with Isaiah Horton. I don't think he's a good match for a Mario Craver style receiver. I think Mario's shiftiness would give him a lot of problems. But I think more of an Isaiah Horton, big-bodied 6'3" receiver versus 6'4" corner, 50-50 contest. I think that's going to be a matchup to watch when those two teams play. So really, really phenomenal athlete. Speed, size, length. I can't remember a year in college football when there's been this many large cornerbacks. Can y'all remember anything like that in the past where you've got 6'4", 6'4", 6'4", 6'2", 6'2"? These guys are huge.
Freakazoids.
Well, I guess this is probably one of the worst kept secrets in the history of the world. We've had a few of these on these rankings. We had one with the wide receivers. We have one now. And I think we had one with edge rushers too. But we all know if you've been under a rock for the past year or two, you don't maybe know this name, but that's the only way you don't know this name. And we are going to South Bend, to Leonard Moore, probably one of the best defensive backs. I'm going to call him a cornerback because that's what we're doing. But this guy could play anywhere in that defensive backfield and be a monster. You could probably put him at linebacker and he'd be fine. He is just a baller, and got to see him up close and personal last year. Well, not personal because, I mean, I watched it on TV. But when they played A&M last year. So Leonard Moore, as no surprise, comes in number one. You see 30 points, got every first place vote we had. Don't think it was even really that close, to be honest with you. So, Rob, we'll let you go. I'll jump in second post game, and I'll let you finish us up with your boy from Notre Dame.
Yeah, Leonard Moore, consensus on all of our board, number one cornerback in the country. 6'2", 197 pounds, 79 tackles in his career, 57 solos, 18 freaking passes defended, bro. This dude is unbelievable. 3 forced fumbles, 7 INTs, has a touchdown. All I know is when we meet them, my Texas Longhorns, that is, in the national championship game, I hope he plays and balls out, but we win the game. I really love Leonard Moore. I know post game is going to be able to tell us all the stuff we need to know. So I'm going to get out of his way so he can give it to us. But I love Leonard Moore.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Leonard. I'm going to let post game kind of brag and shine on his guy here because, as I mentioned, this is one of the most phenomenal athletes I've seen at cornerback. Instincts out the world. So I saw last year against Notre Dame, you know, A&M had a little momentum against you, and we were driving, and Marcel threw a pass to the sideline. Leonard Moore is looking at the receiver facing the sideline, and at the last second spins around and just snatches it. And I was like, okay, can we get this guy off the field, please? You know, he needs a timeout or something. Get him out of here. But one of the most great play. I mean, the quick instincts to turn around that fast while falling to the ground and still snag the ball were insane. And I'll get out of the way and let you give us everything we need to know about Mr. Moore.
Yeah, well, if anybody wants to know what separate Leonard Moore from the rest of these freak athletes at the cornerback position in college football, it's simply his IQ and technique. Blend his IQ and technique with his size, his athleticism, his speed, and you got a making of a number one cornerback, not only in college football, but this is a guy who's going to go early in the first round of the NFL draft next year. I mean, when you got guys like Jeremiah Smith, who's easily, hands down, the best player in college football, best wide receiver in college football, saying that was your toughest matchup in the national championship as a freshman in 2024, a true freshman, given the assignment to slow down that Ohio State passing game and those elite wide receivers. Listen, I think Notre Dame would have been a much better ball game against Ohio State in the national championship game if Al Golden or Marcus Freeman had simply just said, look, wherever Jeremiah Smith is, that's where you are, Leonard Moore. And I still to this day don't understand why they didn't do that. But I mean, freakish athlete combined with his IQ, his technique. He's just a technician, man. That's why you can line him up all over the field against any type of wide receiver, and he's going to hold his own. I always reference the USC game last year. Mekhi Lemon is a slot player, was killing everybody in the slot. What does Notre Dame do? They surprise USC and move Leonard Moore to the slot and have him cover Mekhi Lemon the whole entire game. And I just think he's elite. He's an elite corner. He's a once in a generation corner. And I'm excited to see him play this year in his NFL career as well.
Yeah, I fully expect Leonard Moore to be off the board in probably the top 10 picks in the NFL. You can't pass up a true shutdown cornerback. Say what you will about college to the NFL. I don't care. This kid's game transitions to the NFL easily, and he immediately becomes a starting cornerback on whatever team drafts him. I fully expect him to be gone by pick 10 in the NFL draft this coming year. an outstanding player. So that's our list. Any other people y'all want to mention, names that we might have missed, others you may have your eye on? I have a couple I have my eye on, but I'll see if y'all got any others you want to mention before we get out of here.
Yeah, I just want to say, listen, whether you hate Notre Dame, whether you love Notre Dame, whether you're indifferent, this Notre Dame defensive back room is going to be unfreaking believable. SEC Shine, you talk about ranking the safeties, I believe Tuesday night. I got 2 Notre Dame safeties on that top 10 list. When you think about Leonard Moore and his shutdown capabilities, and then you got Bronte Johnson at safety, and Don Shula at safety. Those are dudes. Those are dudes, man. Then you get the cornerback transfer from Colorado who played with Travis Hunter, DJ McKinney. You got DJ McKinney, and then you move your starting field corner to the nickel. It's really going to be exciting, man. This Notre Dame defensive back room secondary, I think is going to be a treat to watch, whether you hate them or love them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year's season, man. Like I said before, the players that we got playing in college football this year, man, it's going to be unbelievable. The NFL is going to be ultra excited about all of these guys that are going to be going into this NFL draft. And the cornerback position is not taking a back seat to any other position on the football field, and I don't care if it's quarterback. The cornerbacks in this draft coming up are going to be some superior athletes to what we've probably seen at the quarterback position as far as depth wise in quite some time. I'm excited about that, but I also want to give my man SEC Sean a shout out. The graphics you've been dropping, bro, have been amazing.
Well, I appreciate it. I just something I think to give our viewers a little bit something else to look at besides just us. I think it helps us out. I think it gives everybody, a good visual to look at while we're talking about these people. Gives them something to look at their stats from the previous season and stuff like that. Post game you're on. I've got 2 Notre Dame safeties in my top 10 as well. It doesn't matter to me. When you're doing these shows, you have to take your bias out of it when we're trying to rank it. You can't just vote all Notre Dame or all Texas or all, you got to think about it as a football fan and what would be the great ranking. I will say on the cornerback list, there's a couple that I wanted to spot. Watch Des Ricks from A&M. He came on at the end of last year with Will Lee as his partner in crime back there. And he's cornerback 1. A&M has 2 of them I'm watching. One is Ricky Gibson, transfer from Tennessee. I expect him to bounce back after his injury last year. But those are 2 I'm watching to see. And if you want a crazy freshman name to watch that you post game maybe want to watch, because I know how big you are into all football. If he gets the playing time, I expect him to watch Brandon Arrington out of A&M. True freshman out of California. Kid has been blowing up in spring ball and fall camp. He has been just the talk of all the DBs. So other than that, anything else you want to throw out? Anything else you got going on? Anything coming up from Notre Dame's side that you want to mention?
Yeah, man. I'm supposed to go live later on this evening. Couple of Notre Dame fans, couple of the homies. We're going to get together and we're going to talk about this here 2026/27 college football season for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. If you like Notre Dame or if you're just a college football fan in general, make sure you tune in at 6 p.m.
All right, 6 p.m. tonight. Should be good. You got the stuff I sent you, right? You got those?
Yep.
Wanted to make sure of that. Other than that, I really don't have much else to talk about this. We're sitting close to an hour. we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat and in the stream watching. And like always, go like, subscribe. You see them all scrolling at the bottom. Level Up Sports 10 post game 86 podcast. I'm SEC Sean with my podcast. Rob was on the stream earlier with WTP for Life. We got our website, WTPSportsDudes.com. You can go email us stuff. Get involved with football season. Give us, what do you want? What do you want to know? We're here to bring the content to y'all. You let us know what you want, and we're going to dive into it for you. So post game, go relax them vocal cords, because I know you're going to be talking a lot tonight on that Notre Dame stream. So go relax them up, brother. Drink you some nice lemon and honey and tea and all that stuff. Get ready. And I'm going to try to tune in tonight to check in on you and make sure everything's going good and throw my nuggets in there. But other than that, hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday. And we will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. with our SEC over and under prediction show hosted by Rob. So we will see everybody tomorrow. As we like to always do when we leave, we'll just give everybody a big peace.